You are this morning welcome to the School of the Knowledge of God, taking place at Kandas area in the city of Accra, the nation of Ghana, West Africa. This morning, I want you to tell somebody, I want you to call somebody, I want to share the link. I want you to share the link to some person somewhere. I want you to invite somebody to be participating or participate with us in this class today. Today we are going to learn more deeper things. Last time when we were in school, we learned that the Messiah was a politician. We're able to give facts, we're able to give evidence that showed completely that the Messiah indeed was a politician. He even told his disciples that the governments of this world are vampires. And for that matter, when they come into government, they should not be like them. That means he was looking and seeing himself as an alternative to human government. Clear. Exactly what we learned last week. That indeed the Messiah was a politician. For him to make such a statement, we even went as far as exposing to people the manifesto of the government of the Messiah, which says that all ye who are heavy laden, come unto me and I will give you rest. For my yoke is easy. That means my policies, my agenda will be easy for all people. In fact, the Messiah was nothing but a full politician, a big-time politician. And that means if you are supposed to be a disciple of the Messiah, then you have to be discipled to become a politician as well. Don't allow the wrong definition of a politician affect you. The world's definition as a politician or the world's definition in politics has been contaminated definition. The world's decision has been a very bad and a negative decision when it comes to politics. You can even see big politicians come out and say politics is about telling little truth and telling small lie. What kind of politics can that be? That is a demonized politics. That is a politics that is coming from the evil world, the kingdom of darkness. But the politician brought a righteous politics. The Messiah brought a righteous politics. And that is what the people of God all over the world do not know. But thank God that the School of the Knowledge has brought that to a clear point. And the office of the prophet has been involved in the lecturings of the School of the Knowledge of God. Today we are going to look at a new topic that is asking a question. Colonized by God or Satan? You know, all along we have been studying the syllabus that is heaven's intention is a colonization. That is what we have been learning all this while. And now the question has come clear to us, asking us, have we been colonized by God or by the devil? And of course, the answer is clear, that we are indeed colonized by the devil. Because when God established his government never operated and allowed itself to be recolonized by the devil. When they listened to the devil who told them and asked them, did God say this and that and that? And they allowed themselves to be cheated. And that has become what is happening all over the world. The world indeed now has become a colonized place of the devil. That is why all you see in the world and its politics and its government is just to kill, to steal, and to destroy. No government is not gathering weapons. And the question is, who are they going to fight? Who are they going to kill? Human beings. So it is an evidence that this whole world has been recolonized by the devil. After God began his colonization in the Garden of Eden, the intruder was allowed by the first humans, Adam and Eve, and he took that opportunity and recolonized them into a kingdom of darkness. Today we are going to look at what the syllabus tells us in its information. Let's go to our teaching material. Those of you abroad, if you are interested in the teaching material, you can make an order, and then we'll give you a soft copy, which you can print for yourself back to where you are, and then also study. But it goes with a donation or a support to the work that we do. Colonized by God or Satan, that is the heading. The kings of the world learned colonization from the practice of God, taking the colonial activities of the British Empire that colonized portions of Africa, India, Australia, and many other territories. What was the British trying to do? They were trying to institutionalize their laws, culture in these colonies and make these colonies to be what they envisage their country, Great Britain, to be. So you see clearly that every agenda of colonization is centered to the interest of the person that is doing the colonization. And we have stated in these teachings that the kings of this world learned their way of colonization from God's practice. Of course, the devil, that was the intruder who recolonized the human beings, was sacked from God's colonization in heaven. So, of course, he has knowledge about colonization. So, this world being built by him, the devil, will definitely be built under the colonial system of the devil. And then we are looking at an example of the British that came with the colonized or the colonies of the United Kingdom. The United Kingdom colonized some portions of Africa, India, and Australia, and other territories in the Caribbean. What was their interest? They were trying to impose their laws, their system, their culture to the colonies that they are able to colonize. Exactly what the Messiah came to do. The Messiah brought a colonization from heaven with the intention of offering to the earth, if we allow and permit, the laws of the kingdom of heaven, the culture of the kingdom of heaven, the do's and don'ts of the kingdom of heaven. And that is what is the righteous colonization. The Messiah brought a system of colonization. That is why the Lord's Prayer confirms it as a strong evidence. When the Lord's Prayer says, "Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven." That means let the interests of heaven be done on earth. That is a colonization. And that is what God's children are not aware of. And we are grateful as the School of the Knowledge of God and privileged to teach you wherever you are on planet Earth. And we want to encourage you to share this information to as many people as possible. We don't mind if people take it as their information to go and teach. What we are interested in is the information of heaven has reached to every human being. Yes. So that God will not lose any soul. Because he said, "I wish not one perish." Not even one perish. One even that is belonging to God will perish. God doesn't want that. So we will be interested, even if institutions of learnings about God, be they seminary, colleges, universities, Bible schools, wherever they are, if they will invite us, we will come and teach the concept of the kingdom, the ideologies of heaven, and the ideologies of God, so that humanity will be better than what it is. Because the intentions of God has so far not manifested on earth. The earth is completely manifesting the intention of the devil, which is to kill, to steal, and to destroy. And that must come to an end. Yes. It has operated for over 6,000 years. And the number 6 means the end of man, strength, the number of man. That means God must take over because it is his time.
Yes, Lord.
And we must allow ourselves to be used by God to be able to manifest God's agenda on earth. And that is what we have been privileged to learn today. That the United Kingdom's colonies were just doing nothing but the interests of the British, the interests of the royal family of the United Kingdom. And that is what colonization is all about. God in this case, the Messiah in this case, heaven in this case, are interested in nothing but their interests of heaven. And that is what the Lord's Prayer confirmed. Let's look at the prayer that is following the topic, colonized by God or Satan. Prayer stroke imagination. Lord, human beings copied your concept of colonization and succeeded in its implementation. We should do even better. That means you are telling God that, Father, if the devil can succeed with human beings using their colonization of the kingdom of darkness, then we should do better. And if you agree with me, say yes.
Yes.
And that is what we must do. Yeah. If the devil is able to implement his colonial system, his colonial interests on this earth for 6,000 years, then we should be able to even do better than that. And that is the call that the School of the Knowledge of God is bringing over every single life that is listening to this school today. I believe you have received some knowledge that has been released from the school lessons. And I believe that you are also pondering over the information because you have never heard this. Yes, no seminary school, no Bible, no theological school can tell you this because they don't know it. As the scripture said, such as we have, give. What they have is what they are offering to ministers that are representing God's children all over the world. That's why we open our gates as the office of the prophet to the nations, or the School of the Knowledge of God, available to teach anybody who wants it in their institution. We don't mind to travel to anywhere to teach people so that they can also have the true information. I want to believe that you have been blessed today. Remember that this video, you can't keep it to yourself, but you must share it to as many people as possible. And if you are here for the first time, please subscribe so that you can always participate in the school lessons every weekend. The school takes place Saturdays and Sundays, 10 a.m. And then you can be part of it. Wherever you are, you can get the school lessons because it's going to be broadcasted and taught live as I am doing right now. So remember to share the video and then tell others about school. It's free of charge. We take donations to help the bills of the school. Now we want to do the second section of our school lessons, and that is leadership. That is leadership. Yes. Leadership is very, very important if you are talking about colonization. In fact, the whole idea of colonization is nothing but leadership. It is to colonize the people and lead them according to the interests of the colonial master. That is what leadership is also all about. Having brought their agenda of colonies, having brought their colonization, so that people can be raised as agents, as leaders, to also spread the colonization everywhere in the world. And that is leadership. So in the School of the Knowledge of God, we cannot teach anything and leave leadership behind. And we always relate the leadership so that it can be practical to the happenings in our nations and in our world. Of late, it has been the issue about the cocoa industry. In fact, it's very, very unfortunate. The billions of dollars of debt that has heaped up in the cocoa industry. Very, very unfortunate. And that leads us and teaches us how our leaders are mismanaging the resources of our nation. Before I came into lecture, I heard discussions on television And one of the previous members of government, who is a member of parliament, said it clear that nobody should be allowed to go free for mismanaging the resources of the cocoa sector. And that was a very good point. Because somebody who was part of the system that has left is ready to say this, then that is leadership. Leadership has nothing to do with your political interests. Leadership is got to do with effectiveness, decency, compassionateness, and competence. Leadership does not but perform competently. Because that honorable person was a very competent lawyer, he said it, that I support that anyone that is involved must be held responsible. Accountability is part of leadership. Every one of us must learn to be accountable. Everything you do, put records down. Whether somebody will check it or not, just put it down. You do not know when it will be checked. When I tell people, keep records of your daily life, people don't understand. I have been keeping records of my daily life over 10 years now. That means if somebody tells a lie about me, and I have to defend myself in the court, I'll just open that day and then let the judge read it. And you see that that day, look, these are the things that I did in my life. Can I be that person that I've been accused? And they will see that that is true. And I'll carry my other records of other years and days. And they will see that this is a man that is accountable to his life. And that document of your own accountability of records will save you from the court accusation or anybody that accuses you. So putting records of your life is the best accountability of your whole life. We must be accountable. How can people lose elections and they are leaving office and they'll still issue contracts? Well, why should we do that? Yeah, why should we do that? Mismanagement and corruption has been the kind of leadership that is happening in our African continent. Other countries, the same thing. But Africans' own is worse. It's too much in Africa. And people must be held responsible. Everybody is complaining today. Why is the new government up to now? 1 year has gone. Nobody has been prosecuted. Yes, it is true. In fact, it's not easy to prosecute people. When you know some bit of legalities, it's not easy. You need to gather evidence. But I want to pass this to the president and his chief justice, that in the past, there lived a president who started what we call the fast track court. So we can also do it. Because fast track court means a court that can be very fast. Because the adjournment of cases by our judges is too much. 4 months, they will adjourn cases over and over. Case will, adjourn at a point. And cases stay for years. Thank God the reset of the new government has in it 24 hours. Let's run the courthouse 24 hours. In American courts are there 24 hours. When you are arrested in the night, they will take you to court. We can do it here. We can employ back all retired judges to come and work part-time. When the court closes 5 p.m., they can start the next court from 6 p.m. and close at 12 midnight and go. And we can prosecute people that needs to be prosecuted. Justice delayed is justice denied. So I want to call on the Chief Justice, and if you know him, pass it to him, that look, we can run a 24-hour court. We can run a fast-track court because people have abused their responsibilities in their offices and they must be held accountable. Even me, if I have also abused something, hold me accountable. Because nobody must be allowed not to be accountable to their office deeds. That is the only way we can fight corruption. We cannot fight corruption with judges that are giving adjournment, postponing court attendance, and all kinds of things, going to vacation. No. There are cases that were started last year, October, and so far it's just adjournment upon adjournment. And now everybody is attacking the Attorney General. What? He can't do anything. If the judges adjourns the case, he can't say anything. If he wants to talk now, they will say the government is dictating to the legislative, the judiciary. The Attorney General cannot do anything. But the Attorney General must also get more lawyers so that they can get more cases with their evidence. And the Attorney General can press on the Chief Justice in the area of the fast track court and even the 24-hour court. We can run a 24-hour court. It's happening in America and other places. We can also do that so that we can deliver our nation from this corrupt agenda, so that the youth will learn to know that politics is not about you going to steal money. Because the Constitution talks about conflict of interest. Anything that conflicts the interest of the nation is corruption. Yes, anything that conflicts the interest of the nation is corruption. That is why when you are in office, you must not take gifts. Taking a gift is going to conflict with the interest of the nation's service that you are doing. Because the gift is believed that when you are giving a gift, the person that gave you the gift will become your master, can control you. Yes. Even the scriptures, it says it clear that a gift corrupts a person. So, conflict of interest is a prosecutionable case. And people must be brought to be aware of that. We need to deal with our nations. Deal with all kinds of importations of things that we do not need. And that heaps up the debt of the nation. Beloved, leadership is about accountability. Leadership is about competence. Leadership is about effectiveness. How effective are you as a leader? Within the shortest possible time you have been put into office, what are you able to achieve? You and I will be accountable to God one day. So let's learn to be accountable now, so that before the time comes for us to be accountable, we will have it easy. So let's all call on the Chief Justice to increase the hours of the court and to also press on the judges to slow down the adjournments. They are too much. A case starts and adjourn. A case starts and adjourn. Why? Some of the cases that started last year, up to now, they have gone nowhere. And if it's possible, let's start the fast track court and let's run a 24-hour court services. It's possible. Yes. When some people close, some new judges will also come and take the court and continue. Lawyers will be available. At least we can run up to 12 midnight. Because if you take out from 6 p.m. to 10 is 4 hours. And then 2 hours at 6 hours. It's enough. Yes. If we want, we can add to make it another 8 hours. So that we can have 2 8 hours a day. And later we can develop it to 3 hours. 3 8 hours for a day, 24 hours. Because we cannot allow people to be stealing. Look at the Public Accounts Committee. Every day people sit down there. Billions are mismanaged and stolen. How long can we continue to do this? And the country is suffering. 70 years, almost old nation. we don't have the necessary things we should have. It is not because we are poor. If Burkina Faso can do what they are doing, I tell you, we could have done better. Because we are so much rich than Burkina Faso. We are so much resource than Burkina Faso. Why are we struggling? We have disgraced ourselves not to farm tomatoes in Ghana, but go to Burkina Faso, and we lost our mothers and our brothers and sisters. Why should that happen? A country that used to have 2 tomato factories. A country that used to have 2 tomato factories. Today, we don't have any source of tomato farms. Whereas we are blessed with rivers, water, that can be there throughout the year. Now that it is death, if we should go for tomatoes, it is time for people to start farming tomatoes. I want to start. Because our women will not go to Burkina Faso again. So we must cultivate our tomatoes here. Because we can't let tomatoes take lives of people. What kind of tomatoes are we looking for? Yeah, tomatoes is very good fruit, important fruit for our health. But we cannot let tomatoes take the lives of our mothers, our sisters, our brothers. When they even kill them, they won't let them be left so that we can take the body and bury. They burn them. What kind of evil is this? Evil ideologies. We must come together as a world and crush this evil agenda. We can't allow evil agendas to eat us up. What have the people done? They only came to buy tomatoes. If you wanted, you could have seized the tomatoes and set them free. Why are you killing them? What have they done to deserve to be killed and to be burnt? If not, people are performing the mission of the devil to kill, to steal. What is this? Beloved, thank you so much for being in school today. I want to end up here and allow questions to come. So let's take the first question right now so that we can expand from the questions into more deeper things. Yes, question number 1.
Has God colonized the world before?
For God to create the heavens, to create the Garden of Eden and said, let's make man in our own image and put man in the Garden of Eden, that was the first colonization. Look at what God said, that let us make man in our own image. That means we are like them in heaven. That is a colonization. A colonization is trying to bring something from one point to another point. So if we have the image and likeness of a point in heaven on earth, that is colonization. So the Garden of Eden is the first colonization that heaven or God started with. And Adam and Eve were the first colonized people of God. But they allowed themselves to be recolonized by the devil, who was sacked from God's presence in heaven. So that was the first colonization of God, which is the Garden of Eden and Adam and Eve. God bless you. Yes, next question. Okay, let's take questions from the class, if there are any questions from the class, so that we can bring our school lessons to a close. Yes. My name is Peter Anamo. I speak on behalf of the Office of the Prophet to the Nations, and I'm a teacher in the School of the Knowledge of God. So we can always answer your questions. So answer questions. There's next question. Any question from the class? Yes, Vida.
Well, my question is,
Africa,
India that the British colonized, were they lawless and uncultured?
The people. No. When you want to colonize people, you are not interested in what they are doing. You are interested in you impacting on them what you think they should do. So Africans were sitting in there somewhere, and the whites came, who were the colonial masters, and decided to colonize them. You colonize people with interest. You colonize them with what you have. That will be attractive to them. You see, when Jesus came, he gave the people food. When he came, he healed them. He raised them from the dead. That is to attract them to his colonial ideas. When the whites too came, they brought our grandfather's mirror and sugar. We didn't know how to see a mirror. We have never seen mirror before. So that was a good idea now. So you bring things that will attract the people. Then you can now use that opportunity of influencing by attraction to colonize them. Because they will now know that you are higher than them. You see, the Bible says that as the heavens are high above the earth, so is ways. So if the colonial master, the Christ, came from a higher heaven, he has to attract us with something that heaven can do that we can't do. That's why they brought mirrors, to let us see that we can't do mirrors. So that is how colonization goes. It doesn't come to force people. It comes to attract people with interests that will influence them to that colonial point. Amen. Yes, next question.
The next question is, what are the key causes of these cases which are being adjourned all the time?
Okay, you are talking about leadership. No, it's the judge who decides. There are no points. The judge will decide that, okay, let's stop the talk. Let's stop the case now. I'm adjourning it to next time. And you can't do anything. And he will ask the lawyers, are you okay with the date? And they will book it. If they are not okay, so my lord, if it can be changed because on that day I have another court case, and then the judge is okay, let's shift it to forward one day or one day ahead. Because the judge has the power to decide anything over the case. But the Chief Justice can call the judges to order that you don't have to adjourn more than 3 weeks. It is possible. The Chief Justice he is the Chief Judge. So he can tell them, don't adjourn more than 3 weeks from now. And the judges will obey. Yes. The judges will obey. It's the Chief Justice that can rise up on them because he is their Chief Judge. So he has the authority to do that. I remember the previous government, people could go to the court in the morning, by afternoon they have got judgment. Yes, because they have the Chief Justice to their side. How did that happen? And it cannot happen today. Yeah, it must happen. We want it to benefit to the whole world and the whole country. Not for people to go and benefit it personally. That people are able to go and put injunction over people, because they have the Chief Justice to their disposal. So judges can be brought to order to limit the adjournments. They are too long, too much. And then they should be given time that the Chief Justice can summon them. Look, this case has kept long. Why? Give me the reasons why, Because some of these judges can be corrupt. They can collect bribes and then delay the judgment so that the person will enjoy small before the person will go to jail. Or they can delay the judgment so that the government will end up their term. And then another government will come and the case will become bazaar. Judges are interesting people. But the Chief Justice can call them to order. Because if the citizens demand, they must do it. Yes. Next question. Is there any question next? Yes. Mm-hmm. Okay. Let's take your own. Go ahead.
Colonized by God or Satan. The title is the heading itself.
Okay.
Let us go into that one.
Mm-hmm.
Is asking us individually that question.
Yes.
And how are we answering it?
Well, that's left to everybody personally. Are you colonized by the devil or you are colonized by God? If you are living your life under the devil's conditions, you are colonized by him. If you are a liar, if you are a thief, so do you steal? If you go and take meat from the soup and you didn't ask your wife, why you are stolen? So you have to ask your wife. People have stolen meat from childhood until their marriage. You know, and that is an evidence that you are still colonized by the devil. That's a good point. The question is a personal question. Are you colonized by the devil or by God? So take it to yourself wherever you are and answer that question to yourself. Amen. Yes. So that's all, eh? Okay. Uh-huh.
Similar as what you just asked.
All right.
Concerning this word, it's just about killing, stealing, and destruction. Each and every day.
Yes.
So is it that we are being colonized by the devil?
Yes. Exactly, that is what is going on. That is why we are doing what he wants. The killing, the stealing, and the destruction. Because that is the evidence that we are under the devil's colonization. The heaven's colonization or God's colonization gives life and life abundance. What is giving life abundance? Doing the right thing, helping people, supporting people, doing all kinds of good things. But that's not what we see. People are cheating people. People are abusing people's rights. That is of the devil. And that is the devil's colonization. Amen. Any other question? Okay, so we want to take our donations to support the bills of the school. So if you have some support, check your pockets, check your bags, and then let's donate some support to help the bills of the school. Those of you, wherever you are, you can send it by mobile account. You can send it to the mobile account. It can be 10 CDs, it can be 20 CDs, it can be 50 CDs, it can be 100 CDs. You are welcome. Don't feel that, we are going to send the school donation this amount. It is supportive. It's supportive, so don't worry about that. No amount is small, no amount is big. Because we have bills to tackle. This mission carries other missions for the nation, for the world. So we want to call on you to donate to the class support. God bless you in advance that you have donated. A hundredfold return to everyone that donated. God bless you. Okay, so let's end the class. Father, thank you for the school that has ended successfully. We pray and bless the students wherever they are. Let them allow themselves to be colonized by heaven and be delivered from the devil's colonization. And let's prepare for tomorrow's school. Tomorrow, the same 10 a.m., we shall begin classes. God bless you. Bye-bye.